Pete, we're back.
Back again.
It's episode 101, episode 100, part 2.
And we're doing clip show.
In case anyone wants to know why it's happening like this, because I think it's funny. The episode 100 is now episode 100, episode 101, and then a bonus episode.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it's also too long. That's what she said.
Classic. You're bringing back the classics.
When in Rome.
What?
When in Rome.
Where in Italy?
We're going to have a little bit more fun than maybe last episode, because last episode was very procedural. It was the types of episodes we do.
Bum bum.
That's right. That's pretty good.
Thanks.
Pretty good.
I've been practicing.
That's now 2 laughs you've gotten from me in 100 episodes. It's pretty good. Nothing will beat the one you got from me in the Friday 13th Part 3 watch along. I lost my mind when you did that.
I don't know what it was, but I'm a funny guy, Brian. I don't know if you know this.
Usually I just stare at you. But it was, she was trying to fight off Jason, and there was, for some reason, at the top of the spiral staircase, as he's trying to run up it, there's a whole shelf full of books. And she knocks it over, and you said, "Ooh, she's going to drop some knowledge." And I laughed so hard.
Because she did.
That's a good one. I thought about that since. It's pretty great.
All right, so what are we doing today?
Well, today we're going to get into the things we do on the podcast as opposed to the way the podcast works. So let's get into the topic of guests. We've been fortunate enough to have many guests, all of which are either related to you or lifelong family friends.
Sounds about right. Those are the people I know.
We've had Kitty on.
We did.
Over 20 times.
It's a lot.
We've had Ken on from Taiwan, I think 16 times, maybe 17 times. I should have done a count. We've had...
That's what I thought we were doing right here. And I was going to ask who's been on the most.
That was Kitty.
Okay.
It makes sense because she's right upstairs some of the times.
No, you and I would be on the most.
That's true. You got me.
No, I just figured it out. You're wrong.
You
wrong.
got me. We've both been on 100 times.
You've been got.
We had your neighbor Martha on 6 times before she vanished.
I think we lost her in 86.
I really think that she did one episode with Ken and was like, out.
That's a possibility.
You know, I mean, who among us hasn't? We had your daughter Fred and your son Sam on once.
Oh, they're coming back. They've been bugging me.
This isn't counting the cameos of Sam coming down or Kitty coming down to yell at us. And like, I don't count the cameos of when she time traveled to 86. These are when she was a featured player on the
I see.
the episode. And we had Mark on, lifelong family friend. Mark, come on recently. He's our most recent guest. Now, if you're hearing this and wondering, Brian, why don't you have any friends? I don't have any friends. I have talked to my friends that aren't you about coming on. They all say, yeah, sounds great. And then I never hear from them on it. The one person that got the closest just packed up and moved to North Carolina. And as I pointed out, helping him move down there, I have the phone app and I have online. We can just do it whenever. Never heard from him again. I think he moved because I was like, yeah, let's talk about something on the podcast.
It's been a while too. That's funny.
It has been a while. And, I hope that we'll have people. Come on,
so
new
many
people,
Brian.
People don't want to come on. So.
I gotta people want
your side of the life.
You're looking. Oh yeah, I got a queue of people right now. We got to get out of these now that we're ending the what do you call them? The annual, which I think we should make biannual because those are the good episodes. Wait, biannual can mean.
I know what it can mean. It can mean twice a year, and it can mean every other year.
No,
it can mean also that they have sex with ladies and men.
I was gonna say it has sex with both ears.
That's funny too.
But that's where I was going. We're along the same thought process.
I wasn't jumping on his joke. He paused and stared at me to see what I would come up with. So I tried to throw everything I had at the wall.
That's what I had.
That's a lot of what this podcast actually is. Now that I think of it.
I was always taught when you're cooking spaghetti to know if it's done, like you throw a piece at the wall.
Yes.
Well, it turns out that if you don't clean the wall afterward, when the sun hits it right, you see a bunch of spaghetti strands, like the shapes all over the wall.
It's 100% correct, and I know that too.
Well, did your wife yell at you?
That'd be difficult for her to do.
Well, that's what happened to me.
I'm not married, Pete. I don't know. I feel like you should know that since I've seen you almost every week since 1994.
Well, I'm just saying, we had the same first part of the experience,
That's
so
true.
I just assumed that the second part was going to go the same way.
Why is she yelling at you? The pasta was obviously done. You did a good job.
Yeah, I know. I said the same thing.
Ungrateful. So Kitty's our most frequent guest. because she's the one we have the most access to.
Because she lives here.
It's also good to get a female perspective on sometimes. Although she's kind of more like a dude when you watch these things than she doesn't really purposely look for the feminist perspective on these things. I think I do that more than anybody.
Possibly. I think I do.
Do you?
I'm still not really sure what acts are, so.
Yeah, that's true. That was a fun time that we abandoned eventually because I realized you were never going to get it.
I still don't. I really
Never
like
gonna
it.
Get it. Never get it.
In Vogue. I was trying to remember that one because I'm getting it confused with the other one they had.
We've sung a few times on this podcast, which is kind of funny because we don't ever sing in real life.
I sing all the
You
time.
sing because you have kids. Yeah. You sing that You're Welcome song or whatever.
I also, from Moana.
Yeah. This is Moana's come out a few times today.
Numero
So
uno.
to talk to you.
I know, you're obsessed with that movie.
Well, stop being so obsessed with me. So you love having guests on, to the point of annoyance for me. Because first of all, it's more difficult to schedule.
True.
Because you have to have a whole third person, sometimes a fourth person ready to go.
Yes.
But mostly the reason that you love having them on is you feel like all the pressure's off you to carry any your end of the deal here.
Right. Everything I know about like a movie and my thoughts on movies is generally summed up as it was pretty good.
Yeah.
If it was bad, I'll go, eh.
But we've made it work. But the reason that I bristle sometimes at having to do it is because you cannot stop talking over the guest. And this is why I keep trying to push you towards the online things. At least I can edit you out. But I don't think you understand how much you do it.
Oh, I'm aware. I have to be aware. You tell me, everyone tells me. This isn't just this podcast. This is real life.
The one positive about doing it with a guest is that I sit back. You know, everybody gets a turn to sit back for a while, and you can kind of listen in and then think of the best time to jump in. The difference is that you think the best time is right when they start their sentence.
Well, I have important things to say, and I have to get it out before I forget about it.
Now, you know that around 30 episodes into this podcast, I started editing it. So you can leave dead space, and then I'll fix it later, and you don't have to talk over anybody.
Now, see, I feel like this is a radio. I'm not entirely clear how things work, and you have to talk all the time, constantly. That is my understanding of this. Why else would you have a microphone? Unless Godzilla's coming, and you're trying to report on it before the building gets collapsed underneath you.
You are terrified of Dead Space, the video game.
I've never played it, but that's why.
No, because you're too scared.
Exactly.
You heard it had boobs in.
Like, I'm just saying, like, I like them, but sometimes when you're not ready for them and they just pop out at you from unexpected places, it's the worst kind of jump scare.
But why do you always go, ew?
I don't know.
That's the longest Dead Space you ever left in an episode, and I thought you were going to lose your mind.
I almost wet myself. I was so terrified.
So I pulled clips for everybody we've had on the podcast to be represented here. This is going to be a long one. That's what she said.
You're quick. I'm going to call you Quick Draw McGraw.
That's what she said, too.
Damn, twice.
Yep. So here's everybody we've had on the podcast. We'll hear their introduction into the first episode that they were on, and then some nuggets of wisdom from everyone from 7-year-old at the time to, I don't know how old Ken is, 50.
2.
He's 48, 49,
How old are we?
45.
How old's Ken?
That's what I was trying to figure out.
How old are we again?
45.
What year was he born? What year was we born? Interesting.
We were born in the year of our Lord, 79.
Okay.
So
So
he was, I think, 2 or 3 years older than that.
he's 76, I think.
76
He's 76.
years old.
Yes.
Trombones.
No, it's 99 luft balloons.
All right. Here's some clips of people that aren't us talking, although we're on them too.
My favorite kind of episode.
These are Pete's favorite kind of episode, which is hurtful.
Oh, I'm sorry, Brian.
It's hurtful in a lot of ways. This is the thing. You don't understand.
So the thing has been grim, Brian. He's back.
Back, baby. The problem is that every time he tells me he's got someone lined up, he's so happy about it. And then I got here today for this one-on-one, and he's just like, I don't feel good. I'm tired. I don't like you. I don't like anything. And I'm like, oh, man. Every time. All right. Here's this precious, well, maybe you like having them on because they're all your family and friends. Here's some clips of what Pete's favorite guests. We have someone else on the podcast with us.
I don't believe you. And I'm right here. It's a who?
Mario.
Oh, Chris Pratt's here.
Yay, everybody.
no.
Chris Pratt.
Let's-
Celebrities Chris Pratt.
Let's not bring that up.
What, you don't like him as Mario?
No.
Have you seen the trailer?
Yes, you showed it to me.
I was going to say I haven't seen it either, so now I'm confused.
Isn't the goal here to have a format, though?
The format is we got a guest.
Oh, there is a correction.
Oh, boy.
That email from whatever you were talking about went to my spam folder. So I did check and it wasn't there. So, hey, the correction's on you, buddy. That's not my fault.
Is that the first email I've ever sent you in 29 years?
That's probably why it went to the spam folder.
Well, it didn't come from my personal email. It came
That's
from-
also probably why it went to the spam. Either one. What it knows anything coming from your IP is shady.
Do you want to introduce your wife at all?
She said, "It's me, Mario, Chris Pratt." Oh, we had established who we've got. I'm married to Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
Isn't that are you a Schwarzenegger?
I call her Kitty.
He's married to a Schwarzenegger.
So I'm a
Or
Schwarzenegger.
Kennedy. I don't
Maybe.
remember. Oh, you're going to stay in the character?
No.
Oh, I guess you're back. All right, it's Kitty. I'm confused. Where'd you come from? Where'd Chris Pratt go? Is this one of those punked?
What's the site where they have all the weird...
Pornhub.
No. But yes.
It's got weird stuff on there.
I'm not usually there. What's the site where they have all the weird terms for things? Like a snowplow and...
Oh, Urban Dictionary. is what
Urban
you're thinking
Dictionary.
of, right?
Yes. I found out what cheese tits are.
Well, don't leave us hanging like those cheese.
I'm going to guess it has something to do with Wisconsin.
Actually, no. It's frequently when women lose weight, there's a lot of loose extra skin, and it looks like there's some curdling happening. So it's related to cottage cheese, and that's why they call them cheese tits. I was looking because, I was talking to Tex, and we were sending each other boob pics as we do, and I found one where people had slapped Kraft singles on their boobs, and I didn't know if it was a thing.
I remember people were throwing Kraft singles at babies for a minute. That was a thing that happened on the internet that I was aware of.
You're regretting.
No, I'm
Yes.
just amazed that, like, I feel like we're the ones that always take it off topic, and then you get mad at us for going off topic, and we are into a whole new world of cheese tits.
You asked me what I've learned.
I didn't ask you that. He asked
Oh,
you
okay,
that.
well, it's really him that went off topic.
That's true.
Back to Gremlins.
I was just trying to think if I've ever gone as off topic as cheese tits before. I'm sure we have. The Mogwai. Nobody in this movie reacts to this thing the way a normal person would react to seeing something that is utterly impossible.
Yeah.
A brand new species. I have
Yes.
it pointing at my notes because I wrote
You're
it
pointing
down.
at your dick.
Yeah, I was thinking
That's
that.
where I write things down.
It's a brand new species.
It's pretty species.
See that? What's her face? What was
100%.
the name of the Wicked Witch of the West?
Oh,
can't
Athelba or something like that.
Oh, not the real one.
No,
The
in
one
the
this
movie, in Gremlins.
Oh,
Well, there
it's
is no real one, but you know.
and
Mrs.
Alex is-
Deagle.
Deagle?
Deagle.
Deagle, okay.
Oh, yeah, because Stripe, is that correct? Kept saying, Deagle,
Yep.
He also said Billy.
Billy.
Gizmo.
These are all really good Gremlins.
Frank Welker's here.
Well, I was wondering when the gremlin from the high school or this grade school ever joined the rest of it, because you didn't really see that one that well. And I was wondering if it ever joined up with the rest of the... I guess you have to assume it did, because it cleaned up the town.
Well,
but
Snow White.
Yeah. It
Was
seems
that
like
Snow
that was
White?
the draw. And they were singing along. Hi-ho.
Hi-ho.
Frank Welker's back.
You know, I think that movie... when he shorts out the traffic lights, when he's just sitting there in the box, touching them, and he's got that little look of like,
He's
I
an
hear the crash.
electrician, because he also messed with the what's-her-face's chair.
He's the
That's
best
right.
boy.
He's the...
Well, you can get to your best boy stuff. I looked at what a best boy actually is.
The Gremlins.
It's the reason we get two sometimes is that the best boy is the assistant to either the gaffer, which I guess is an electrician. So you're a gaffer.
Yeah.
You
guess
go
I
into the
would be.
microphone.
Sorry, I had to stop and think for a moment.
Yeah, he's either assistant to the gaffer or the grip. So that's why this time we have two. We have the electrical best boy and the grip best boy. So they had two best boys.
And it makes sense that they're assistants to the gaffers and etc. because the grip and the gaffer were also listed
Yes.
with the
Yeah.
best boys.
So usually in movies, though, there's just there might just be the one, so he's got to do both jobs. Now, there can't be two best boys, Pete.
I hate to be the one to tell you this, but I don't know where you're getting your information from. That's not even close to what an electrical best boy and a grip best boy is.
Okay.
Electrical best boy is the electrician, and the grip best boy is the guy who won all the arm wrestling contests.
In Over the Top?
No, on any set. That's the thing that happens on movie sets. There's arm wrestling competitions throughout the shoot.
And more importantly, there cannot be two best boys. Like Highlander, there can be only one. So we have to choose the best boy of 1984.
All of 1984?
Yes?
I'm going to go. Kitty, what do we do? Is
What
this
were
on me?
their
No,
names?
no, we're choosing between the two.
I'm
What
going
were their
off.
names?
The electrical best boy was Ron Kenyon, and the grip best boy was Robert Miller.
Dude, they have the most boring names
I
ever.
looked up their history, though, to see who is deserving. Robert Miller didn't do almost anything else. The electrical best boy, though, has been an actual best boy in 1988's Oscar-winning Best Picture Rain Man. But that kind of makes him the best boy of 88, not 84. And the other guy has nothing else going on.
I'm sorry. I changed my mind. What the grip best... I got some new information I looked up while you were talking. The grip best boy is the
didn't.
best hand jobs on set. So that's how he got his name, or his award.
Well, I'm ready to vote.
Okay.
I don't know about anybody else. But
Is it the grip? Is it the grip best boy? Robert Miller.
In light of some new information that's come to my attention, I'm voting for Robert Miller.
Congratulations, Robert Miller.
Best boy of 1984.
Best grip.
Any other thoughts on Gremlins?
It's a turn up for a book.
Turn
That'll
up?
turn up in a book.
Turn up for what?
Bill John?
Yeah.
Okay. Nope,
Oh,
that was
boy.
Gremlin way of saying it.
Wait, Frank Welker just popped in and all.
Is he hiding somewhere down here?
At the end, too, when they're taking Gizmo's temperature, that made no sense because I don't...
They don't know what his temperature is supposed to run
I don't
at.
know what his normal body temperature is supposed to be.
That's the first time they've shown
never thought
any
of that.
interest.
I've never thought of that in my life.
The entire movie, they give zero interest at all in what this thing is. Like, oh, we better see what temperature it's at.
I've never thought of that before. They have nothing to compare it to.
Like, I guess he's okay. Like,
PJ Souls as Linda. Do you know what her last name is, Kitty?
Souls?
No.
No, she got it.
I see what you did there, and I see what I let you do there.
Oh, there's the marathon man himself. He's about to have the longest sex I've ever seen on film.
That happens like more than once in this film.
I thought you were saying this house.
Well, probably.
And Pete's favorite character, Annie Brackett's going to come in here in a second.
Don't
She's
know.
adorable. I love her.
Annie?
It's her
Yeah.
utter annoyance at just life itself.
She's not a great friend, though. She's constantly belittling Lori.
Oh, and
Oh, no,
calling,
neither of them are.
I think Linda's too
friends.
dumb to be belittling Lori or even be interested in what Lori's doing.
too dumb to be little or belittled.
Yep.
I like how stupid they make this girl seem.
Yep.
Who needs books anyway?
I like how in the background you hear she keeps going on my chemistry book and my math book and my English book. Who needs
Exactly.
books anyway? I don't know about books. I never have books. Like
I always forget my books.
Oh, wait, shh, quiet.
his boner breaks his potted plant. Wrong.
I never thought I'd have something in common with Michael Myers. So the laundry room is outside, like a detached room in Haddonfield, Illinois, notoriously warm climate.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember my laundry house.
Yes. Yeah. Well, you're not from
You used to
Haddonfield,
live
Illinois.
I used to get stuck in windows all the time back in the day.
I mean, you could put these in your garage if you wanted to.
You know, nothing's really stopping me.
But I don't want to.
That's what's stopping you. Loomis might not have taught him to drive, but he definitely taught him how to stand by the bushes. Get your ass away from there. He's so proud of himself. Look at him.
Yeah, I know.
Look at him smile.
I did good today. I did something real.
10 hours well spent. No, then we get a very inappropriate joke here. I don't know if you caught it.
No, I did not.
Okay. She's telling her the plan. Like, we're going inside. Here it comes. Okay, I'll rip your clothes off. Then you rip my clothes off. Then we rip Lindsay's clothes off. Lindsay's the 9-year-old?
I thought they were talking about Annie.
No.
Holy-
They were talking about Lindsay.
Oh,
Wait, did he say that, or
Yes,
did she?
he said
he
it.
said that.
Oh boy, I
Oh.
can't wait for Bob to die now.
Yeah.
She thinks it's hilarious.
I can't believe she's okay with it.
Well, she's too dumb. We've
She is
established
dumb.
that.
Yeah,
So
She might not know which one Lindsay is.
She
Books
might,
aren't important.
she might not know what those words mean.
It's true.
Now, this is the second quickest sex scene in this movie.
Well, Bob,
What are you talking about? Well, Bob's not interested, clearly.
Bob's not interested in Linda. Can I be honest with you?
What's that?
I thought this would be funny.
Oh, you thought this
to
was...
just drag this out. And
Boy, did you miscalculate.
I think it's kind of funny.
There-
But funny for me,
This
not
has
funny
been
for...
even more rambling than normal. At least this time we're staying within the realm of horror.
We're trying to.
We're trying to. We drift. But
No, let me just say this.
No, I don't want to.
I do think this is funny. Not in a laughing out loud funny. Like, to me, this is hilarious.
Oh,
that I'm
just
making you drag this out for as many...
I kind of see it funny because now anyone who's listening has been listening to this point, and oh, I'm so sorry.
No, that's why it's funny to me. Oh, shit. Look at that.
We got a caller. Who could it be? I don't know. I'm gonna find out. Decline. Uh-oh. Hello.
太祖 Florence correspondent.
Well, that went swimmingly.
What'd you do?
I'm not sure.
Huh?
Oh, there we go. It was a bit. What the heck did I just listen to?
太祖 Florence correspondent.
Hello?
Hello.
Introduce him.
Hello, foreign correspondent, Ken Barnes. What's going on?
Why, hello there.
What was that?
Hi.
So you're in Taiwan, huh?
That's right. I am in Taiwan. You sent me here, Pete.
I sent you.
I drove.
We sent you
Yeah.
here because we needed, the news on foreign movies.
Yeah, and homelessness also contributed. Best score for 2 Australian films, 1 Indonesian film. Any guesses?
Well, I have a question
Any
first.
thoughts?
You're
Okay.
in Taiwan. Aren't American
Yeah.
movies foreign films?
For you.
This is bringing them to your podcast. So,
Oh, I see.
and all of these are foreign for me except for one, the Taiwan film.
I got to be honest.
So yeah, they're all foreign.
For 6 months now, I've thought the bit was that you would come on and talk about American films because they're foreign to you.
I'm not gonna lie.
I used to do that. Remember, I used to do that. That was funny.
I thought it was just going to continue to be the bit forever, and I guess we're off that now.
You can play too,
So,
Ken.
Brian, you really didn't think we were going to talk about foreign films today?
I thought that it would be funnier if the whole thing was just the foreign awards, and you were like, the nominees are Evil Dead Rise and 2 other American movies.
This is
I
way
don't think we
funnier
could do a
to
whole
me.
show on
No,
it.
it's okay now because it's funny because we've acknowledged it, and now I'm enjoying it
A
anyway.
failed bit is hysterically humorous to me.
How many more awards are there?
Is this it, Ken?
There's only like 3 left.
Oh my god!
Pete, you got to check your email.
I gotta check my email for this award. Oh, this is it. So
Yeah,
for your
This comes in from the Academy.
Okay, he sent me an email. I got to find it real quick. I apologize. Here we go. And the winner for the most outstanding foreign correspondent for a horror movie podcast is Ken Barnes.
Wow.
Congratulations, Ken.
Wow, thank you so much.
He's got one more
Oh my
award
god,
than
I'm
Nicolas
really
Cage does.
surprised the Academy came through with it. Are you kidding me, Pete?
Nope.
Well,
that's
first of all,
that's what the email says.
I have to go through my thank yous. Oh my
That you
gosh.
sent
Well,
me.
send you. I mean, that's funny. Anyways, I would like to first, before I thank this Pete, I'd like to thank Pete Bush because when I was 12, we were throwing football against the stop sign, and he said, Ken, you're going to be something someday. And when you're on that stage and you win that award, you got to say my name first. And I said, okay, Pete. His name's Peter Bush. And I said, okay, I will. I promise. And I promised him. Unfortunately, Pete is no longer with us, and he died far too early and far too lonely at
What the fuck
death.
is happening?
And it's true though. He died a homeless person on the streets. And last time I saw him, I had to give him my pocket money, which I didn't really have. But anyways, that's not the point. But I did tell him that if I ever won an award, that I would say thank you to Peter Bush. So Peter Bush, thank you very much, and also Brian and Pete and Kitty and all the rest of the Scare Value people. But this was my one chance to finally get that off my chest because I've been thinking about it for years, and I figured I'm not going to win any awards. I kind of have to rig it. So,
a very well-earned award and a very moving tribute to Peter Bush.
Thank you.
I saved one fact that I know, like trivia, a tidbit about Alien.
Okay.
So, my tidbit is that part where Sigourney Weaver has to take off all her clothes because it's like a horror movie and you need to have the naked women.
That was a good spot.
That she had a full bush at the time and refused to shave it, and it made Ridley Scott very, very angry, and she absolutely refused. And she said, if you're going to make me wear that, I'm just going to do this. And he had to digitally remove everything to not get the rating. I was saving that one just for you.
Appreciated. And I was going to add on to that. I think this, and probably the second one too, are the only time she's been hot in her whole career.
What the fuck?
I got a back of Brian here. What?
Did you not see Heartbreakers?
Well, tell me it. No, I didn't see it. When did that come out?
Heartbreakers? I want to say the early aughts.
What is that? Does that sound like a jawbreaker?
It's her and her daughter, Jennifer Love Hewitt, and they run scams on rich men, and Gene Hackman is there, and Ray Liotta, and Jason Lee.
Oh, Ray Liotta was there. I forgot.
So she's like a hot MILF?
She's a hot MILF in that movie. And, I mean, she was hot and...
Too tall.
She's a beautiful woman. She's beautiful in Dave. She's beautiful in Girls in the Mist, where she has sex with that monkey, I believe. I've never seen it.
Listen. I don't think these are real movies.
Some of them are.
I think they all were.
Is she not good looking in Ghostbusters? What, am I losing my mind here?
Well, I mean,
not that good looking.
She was competing against the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
We got to have her on so she can look through pictures of Ken and tell us when he was good looking.
I'll say this. When she was talking about Zool and she turned into the really like the demonic, then that was kind of hot. That was pretty hot. Yeah, I'll take that. Okay, I'll give you that.
Right. She'll be happy to.
But other than that, she's got her bad moments. I'll say she's 50-50. I'll give you 50.
Galaxy Quest?
Oh my gosh. She's good in every movie she's in too.
Why are you just making up random titles?
We've discovered immediately that the problem isn't that she's not hot, it's that you've seen 2 movies that she's in and she's hot in both of them.
No, I saw other stuff. I was just like, they should have got someone shorter. She's too statuesque.
Yeah, you know what people hate most is tall, beautiful women. That's what they hate. They're like, oh, not my type.
Not my thing. Not my thing.
In April 2023, Pete's neighbor, Martha, disappeared after watching the movie Deadstream. In June, Martha has been found.
Finally.
This is her story. Welcome back to the Scare Value Podcast. We did it. Martha's here.
Finally.
Welcome to the show.
I made my trek. It's a long way.
Ken made it from Taiwan before you made it from across the backyard.
I'm missing in some kind of travel technology, clearly.
I almost canceled just to keep the streak going.
Might as well.
You know, I think that is, though, it really is kind of what the culture is now, especially for younger kids. It 100%. Is a much, so it resonates. I think that's one of those, maybe it's like the Blair Witch was back in the original, it's like, it's a brand new thing. I've never seen found footage done on like videos or, using the internet as I think there's been ones like that though, haven't there?
There's another one. Oh my God, what's the name of the movie? The main character is like a really shitty person. Oh my God, I'm not gonna
American Beauty.
No, it's another found footage movie. And she just goes and does really shitty stuff on camera. And she's super, really unlikable. Not like this guy.
Any of the reality TV shows that are on right now.
No, it's a
Paris
movie.
Hilton.
I will.
Is she still
Google
around?
it.
Seen her in a commercial recently.
She is.
Really? She was all over the place back in the early aughts, I believe.
She has, I just saw one of her ads on Instagram. She does like dip nails now.
I don't even know what that means.
It's nails.
I believe it's the
powder.
nails of the future.
Yeah, dip nails.
I don't know if you've looked at Dipping Dots, the ice cream of the future.
They don't say that anymore.
They've taken off the ice cream of the future. It just says Dippin' Dots
We
now.
made it, buddy. We're in the future now.
No, nothing. No, the future is real or the future is now.
I remember dash cam. Dash cam's the other one.
You can't look something up and then say you remembered.
I didn't look at my Google is
That's
empty.
how I remember.
Let me look at your Google.
It's empty.
Muscular young Bob Hoskins. Got it. It's an epidemic.
Everyone's looking it up, man. It's a real thing. Wolverine.
I didn't realize that everyone had this in their saved Googles.
If I could ever figure out how to make it my background, my phone's going to be terrifying for people.
I've Googled muscular young Bob Hopkins. I have yet to find muscular
I'm
young
telling
Bob
you, it's there. Sometime, I think, I don't know, I've argued this to you, Martha. I think that Bob Hoskins would have made a good Wolverine back when he was young and muscular.
Okay.
And there's
And
a
I
shirtless
denied he was
big
either
pencil.
ever young nor muscular.
He's always just been the way he is.
Pete's turning 44 in like 8 days, 10
Is
days,
that,
11
is
days.
that what it is
10
this
days.
year? How do you know that?
Just how time works and how numbers
right.
work.
Apparently, I'm turning 44 this year. I'm very
too.
excited.
In 10 days.
Hey, birthday party at my house.
Tomorrow's Eric's.
Yeah, everyone can
I know. I was going to text them.
Oh,
I
okay.
remember. I
Oh,
remember.
That's very nice.
I remember September 6th. That's your birthday.
Oh,
I
look
remember
at you.
September 11th because they told me never to forget it. And it worked. It stuck. To be fair, it stuck. All right, we're back on the Scare Value podcast. And this
Back
is
in
gonna,
the basement.
Can't even get
Again.
one line in.
No.
You are the king of talking over people.
You know why?
Because you have attention deficit disorder?
Yeah, probably. It's a real thing. I should get tested.
You couldn't sit through the test.
That's been the problem historically.
Speaking of attention deficit disorder, we have a guest today.
Who's the guest? My son?
Yes.
Speaking of,
This is 7-year-old Sam, who we've heard about on the podcast, being left with strangers at a Saw.
oh yes, a Saw-themed murder mystery room where I volunteered and left you all alone with strangers because you hadn't met Aunt Nicole and Uncle Justin yet.
Yeah, so I just left and went to the other room.
That's
And
right.
yeah, and then
And
what?
then I just went, that one was too dark, so I just moved with my mom and I ate some chocolate pretzels.
Oh yeah, good times.
They're pretty good.
So,
We have a lot of Spider-Man posters.
Sam is a big horror fan for what he's allowed to see so far.
Yes, I
But
watched all the Resident Evils
That's right.
movies
Yeah.
already.
What's our cat's name?
Allison Stubbs.
Yes, but Alice is
Is-
also from.
Resident Evil.
Did you name him that? Heard that, I
Yeah,
suppose?
we named her. He used to be called Squeak.
Yeah. You've stripped away his
Because
identity.
she does squeak in the morning when she wants food.
And when you step on her.
Obviously.
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 I don't think it was obvious to everyone, but now we know.
So, what's your favorite of the horror movies you've seen? What horror movies have you seen? Can you tell us some?
Resident Evil
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
7.
8, 9. Look how high I can count.
No, just.
He's tapped out now.
He doesn't even know what 2 plus 2 is.
I know.
I know, it's 22.
I took math with him in high school. That's you are your father's son.
I'm so proud of you, boy. You know so much math.
You think it's 42? I think it's 22.
I don't know where he gets this at school. They teach him.
He asked me if I play any sports, and I said I'm 43 years old.
You
He
play.
also asked you if you ever stepped on a bee, and then I asked you because I wanted to know the answer.
He asked me if I ever no, this is dumber. He asked me if I was ever not him, you. He asked me if I was ever stung by a bee. I said no. You became so obsessed with it, you presented more and more scenarios where I might have
I
been
said-
stung by a bee,
And I
despite
said, if
already
you
knowing
want to
the
get
answer.
stung by a bee for the first time, you can just run in a grass with your shoes off.
He's like, haven't you ever stepped on one? I was like, no. He's like, you ever tried to open a window and been stung by a bee you're trying to get out? And I was like, well, I don't know what scenario you think's going to end with a different answer, but this was how the morning started.
Yeah, I'm sorry. No, when you say it like that, it makes me sound like a loon.
No, you always sound like a
Oh, boy.
Oh, he gets it. He gets the podcast.
Say hello, Fred.
Hi.
Now, Fred, you created your own podcast. And I have taken some audio clips from it so that everybody can hear what you think of your dad and I. I'm going to play the first clip, and then you can explain to us what's going on. You ready?
Sure.
Me acting out my dad's podcast.
hitting face to face. Staring at each other.
So this movie was pretty weird, and I liked the horror in it.
My dad.
Yeah, I mean, it had great textures and stuff, like... Yeah. Oh, and I also remember the time when Fred called me bald. She eventually called me bald in the car.
My uncle.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. Even though I wasn't there for that. But still, it was hilarious. The one Killer Pinata, like Killer Pinata's wife or whatever it's called, I forgot already, because I'm my dad.
So, some notes. You've nailed him perfectly with the, I forgot what the name is, because I'm my dad. That was perfect.
As soon as I saw that part, I felt bad.
Yep. And you got my voice down pretty great.
Shall we keep going with
Yeah.
this?
So we're going to get a special cameo at the beginning of the second clip.
Don't! I'm doing something! Dad, Dad! It's something special for you! He's just getting into my podcast room.
So anyway, Fred calls me bald for no reason. What was I talking? Oh yeah, your head's so weird and right now about it. So anyway, so like that was a great like filming and stuff, and like one in part like where it was the lady's first kill, and yeah. It was great. Okay, that's the end of our podcast because it's been like 1 hour. Yeah, that seems like a great idea. I need to go eat, and the kids are coming home soon. And I don't want them doing anything naughty. Yeah, I better head out soon.
So, Pete, you've made a cameo at the beginning of that section.
That was my first rumbling that something was happening.
She has your throat clearing down perfectly.
I know, and now I have to clear my throat self-consciously, and I'm not going to do it. So there, everybody.
And she got right back to me like, that was a good movie. That is what I sound like.
That is.
I just tried to do a fake impression. I was like, well, that sounds about accurate.
It is so far a very, very adept skewering of both of us.
Yes, and it's about to get a little more accurate. There it is. It's about to get a little more accurate. You ready for the finale?
No,
I am.
I'm not.
Here we go.
Me. Hi.
Hey guys, what you doing?
My dad. Finishing a podcast. You can tell. My dad goes up to the bathroom to take a dump. My Uncle Brian, take my hat.
The end. Wasn't that just like my dad? And my uncle?
Fred is giving you the look of somebody.
Don't give it to
who
me.
used
Give it
the
to
swear
Nicolas
word.
Cage. That was
No.
Nicolas Cage.
I
Fred,
don't care who Nicolas Cage is. Who even is Nicolas?
Oh my God, they're turning on you.
What happened? They
This is
love
our Nicolas
Monster
Cage
Squad. They
update
look
for
like
you.
fun.
It's been 40 years since not Valley Girl, what this movie's called. It's been 40 years since Night of the Comet came out. So we're going to cover Night of the Comet. And I said to Pete, we're going to do Night of the Comet. And he said, we can't do Night of the Comet, just us two middle-aged dudes. Like, that's ridiculous. We're fools. We're idiots. We're morons. Then he let like a string of racist things go that I can't repeat. And I had to look up some of them. He said, we need a third middle-aged man to talk about this movie, about Valley Girls fighting off zombies in the apocalypse. So our friend Mark is here.
Hello, Mark.
Hello there.
He hasn't been on the show before, but I'm
He's
pretty...
a long-time person I've known. First-time person in my basement. Welcome to my basement, Mark.
I'm sure he's been in your basement.
I have been in this
Have
basement
you,
a couple
since
times.
I moved the upstairs couches to the downstairs?
That's fair, you're right.
And then I got to cut up the downstairs couches because I'm not going to move them back upstairs. The basement is where couches go to die, you see.
I'm pretty sure that Mark came up with the idea for our Nicolas Cage 60th birthday party that you made a mockery of.
What?
The Nick Cage tournament.
A Nick Cage tournament? Oh, yeah. What do you mean made a mockery of? Nick Cage won. It's a victory for all of us.
You heard that episode?
I did, yeah.
He was... It's frustrating being his friend.
To be fair, it was a twist I did not see coming.
Reggie's the older girl, and she's fucking her boyfriend And
No, they're making it. They make it.
They'd
You want to
made it in the
make
80s,
it?
you're right.
You want to make it with me? You want to make it later? Hey, I'm going to stay in this booth making it with you all night.
Is that what the Mary Tyler Moore Show was about? You're going to make it after all?
Oh man, that just blew my world apart.
That's what you get here on the Scary Value podcast. References to 70s, 60s, and 70s shows neither of us have seen. Almost universally, that's what you get.
I've watched probably 2 or 3 seasons of Mary Tyler Moore via Nick at Night.
Anyway, did you watch a lot of horror before, Mark? Like when you were a kid growing up?
Not really. Here and there. My most memorable moment was watching The Ring for the first time in 2002.
Yeah.
While I had mono and was delirious. That was an experience.
Okay.
I was seeing ring girls coming out of the shadows.
I saw somebody at a con once, some kind of con, where they were in the TV. It was the ring girl, and she was crawling out of it. It was pretty cool.
I saw a ring girl at a boxing event once.
I saw a ring girl at a wedding before.
But
He's got me. He never has an extra one. Now I'm angry again. The truth is, like, what I wanted this podcast to be was we'd bring someone on and ask them, like, what kind of movies do you like? And they'll say, somebody who doesn't like horror, mostly. And they'll say, like, oh, I like comedies. I like romantic comedies. I'm like, great, we're watching Eraserhead. And then make them watch Eraserhead and then do a discussion on Eraserhead. And they'd just be angry at me. That was the whole plan. We've never done one episode like that.
you know what is a good idea? And this is based in like an anime thing where, like, if you like certain things, different animes would give you what you're looking for. Like
Hentai.
Not exactly where I was going.
Oh, never mind. We
But,
tried.
But it's where you'll be later.
I mean, maybe for Pete,
Yeah.
but like going from the idea there with horror, where, like, say someone's an action fan,
Yeah.
you could introduce them to a horror movie that has a lot of action.
No, so
That
you've missed the point. The point was that if you love action movies, we're going to watch the slowest burn, or we're watching The Witch.
So instead of, my idea was kind of introduce them to it via something they like, not giving them the complete opposite.
You have made the same mistake most people have, my friend. You think I like people and want them to enjoy this. The joy comes from me knowing they're going to hate it, and then them talking for an hour about how much they hated it. That was the plan.
So, hey, Brian, remember how I was telling you that when I was looking for Halloween stuff, going through all the bins, I found those, like, thigh-high witch things, and I told Kitty I wanted her to wear those on the gremlin mask? She said that she would if I put on that Wolverine shirt and the mask and nothing else.
Why do you keep giving me updates on the specific thing that I don't want to know about?
About what?
I saw the Gremlins mask, by the way. She has a Mogwai one and she has 2 Gremlins ones. And
It's
I
gotta
asked
be
her
the
if
stripe one.
I asked her if she has to change masks if he gets her wet. She said it hasn't come up yet. You know what, Pete? I take it back. All those guests are wonderful.
It's nice to hear my family and friends.
It is nice to hear people that aren't us talk for a while.
It truly is. I'm glad you're on board. I really know what I'm doing on these. I'm a professional, despite talking over people. You get it. You see, I got ideas. I'm an idea man.
You do it because you're terrified of that empty space. And you just let it breathe for a second. It'll all work out.
If you let it breathe, it might come to life and kill you, Brian. You don't let things breathe. The dead don't need air.
Well, Pete, it's the time that you've most been waiting for.
What time is that? 2:30? I got to go to the dentist?
We've had all those guests, but we've had a more consistent companion than them. I'm talking, of course, about Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage.
Very early in this podcast, you started wanting Nicolas Cage updates. For a long time, you didn't want to do them. I had to do them.
Why did we stop? Why did you stop? I want those
Because
again.
you started doing them, and I was like, okay, good. I can stop wasting my time looking for Nicolas Cage news.
Were you bringing low quality news? What was your deal?
I don't remember. It's been so long. But I did pull a nice montage of Nicolas Cage clips, because those are usually easy to find because they're usually at the beginning of the episode because you can't wait.
I usually can't. I don't even know why I felt the need for a Nicolas Cage update. I just think he's such a fascinating person that I need to know. I need to know, Brian.
I don't know why you did it either, and I don't know why it hasn't stopped. I thought that his birthday episodes would maybe be nice times to wind down the bit, But they have not stopped. And they're not bits, because I get here and he's just like, I have a notebook full of Nick Cage things I found. Because every time he sees anything Nick Cage, he writes it down.
I do. But would you be surprised to know that I did not have anything prepared today? Because I didn't think.
Well, you don't actually need it, because I have clips of you being prepared.
Oh, don't worry. I have it.
Oh.
I just wasn't ready, so I gotta take a quick look at the old notebook.
Well, let's get to it after the clips, because we don't want you to repeat yourself.
Is this all like knick-knack facts and Nick Cage news and stuff?
Yeah, this is
Okay.
like the evolution, I would say, of Nick Cage from kind of thing we drop to full-on thing that happens all the time.
So you're one of those evolution guys now?
I do the evolution.
Pearl Jam.
Yep. All right. Now, do you want to hear your clips, Pete?
Lay them on me. I like all news all the time.
Here is
all Nick.
a vast and extensive history of Pete talking Nicolas Cage on the Scare Value Podcast.
But anyways, my question to you, Ken, is what is this Nicolas Cage update that you have?
He's been losing his mind over there.
I've been sitting here listening. I like Godzilla as much as the next person. Don't get me wrong. Godzilla's awesome. I'll talk about Godzilla all day. But
As you know, I went to Hollywood, USA by airplane. And in Hollywood, I saw where Nick Cage put his hands.
What?
And guess where I put my hands?
Wow. Did you know, Ken, that you're not the only one who's had your hands where Nicolas Cage has had his hands? Because I once fingered Lisa Marie Presley. All right. Would you like to check the new Nicolas Cage once you get off my back?
Door number one.
Here's the first option. Ready?
Yeah. Fuck you old crap.
Oh, my.
Mamma mia, that's a spicy meatball.
No, I think we lost the clips, Pete. Something happened. I think the clips exploded.
That's not good. Was it one of those, this note will self-destruct, like Mission Impossible?
I don't know what happened. The clips started like normal, and then I think there was an explosion.
Okay. All right.
So I guess we're not going to have those Nicolas Cage clips.
That's all right. I can redo them all right now. All right, you ready?
This backfired on me immediately.
All right. Well, I'm going to start you off with a new one because that's what I promised everybody. So I'm kind of torn. Like Natalie Imbruglia herself, Brian.
Is that song about rape?
I don't know. I'm trying to remember the lyrics now. I don't remember the lyrics. Her Perfect Sky was torn. Mm-hmm. I just thought that was a painting that she had.
The Perfect Sky?
Yeah, that somehow got ripped. I really never thought about the lyrics. I'm not a lyrics guy, Brian. I just kind of like listen to stuff and let it kind of flow through me. I don't pay attention to what's actually happening. But I'm torn, like Natalie Imbruglia, about what I want to give you. I've got Nick news, but I've got one that possibly the first ever subjective Nick news, depending on how you receive it. So I don't know which one to give you.
I haven't listened to a word you
You want
said.
straight news or you want ambiguous news?
Ambiguous.
All right. Did you know that Nicolas Cage this is Nick News, possibly, from the Nick Cage News Network. Ready? You got to focus. Focus in.
I just don't care about this at all. I do think it's hilarious that I spent that time making that clip and then sold the entire thing. But go ahead.
Because this news has been burning a hole in my brain. It's all I could think about. I wasn't even listening to the clips. I was trying to figure out which one to give you. Like, which Nick News do you need? Did you know that Nicolas Cage is related to famous people?
Yes, I did.
Did you know that his uncle, we all know his uncle is Francis Ford Coppola. His cousin, he has cousins.
Sophia Coppola?
Yup. There's another one. Roman Coppola. That's a name I've heard before. I think. No? Okay. Did you also know, he has an aunt. And I think she's somebody too.
Talia. This is good news. Talia Shire?
Yeah, Talia Shire.
Yeah. She's Adrian in Rocky.
Oh, okay. Well, then that's his aunt, Aunt Rocky. And do you know who her son is?
Bilbo Baggins.
Jason Schwartzman.
Because he's from the Shire.
Ooh, I never thought about that before, but that's true. You've given me a whole new avenue to explore.
For the first time in a long time, I'm actually proud of something I said on this podcast again.
That's what Nicolas Cage does, Brian. He inspires the creativity in all of us. He brings it out just by talking to him. But yeah, Jason Schwartzman is Nicolas Cage's cousin. I had no idea. Nicolas Cage news.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh yeah, that's right. We never started an Elf podcast either. I don't know why I got there from this, but
I've been like, since we've been back, I've been burning to watch Elf. Like I want to know how it ends. We only got to watch the beginning.
I know.
Well, all right. Well, that was my Nicolas Cage news. It was pretty. And also, I found out. See, on this page, I drew a little snail with the word "burbs" on it. And while I was trying to figure out where my notes were, I also had the "burbs" written somewhere on another sheet. I'm glad I watched that movie because clearly it was on my mind.
And that was the 100th and final Nicolas Cage update.
Until next time. Because look, I've got a whole notebook.
All right. The real reason I split this into 2 episodes is that we now have a full episode last week that has no Nicolas Cage update. I'm very excited about it. I tricked you.
You son of a bitch.
You're right.
All right. Now I'll get my revenge.
Now, on to our top couple things for the podcast. Let's start with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
It's all right.
It's all right. It's taken a long time to get you to it's all right because you started with it's terrible.
Yeah, it took a while. I think I had to watch both movies to see it all, like all of it as a whole, because it's just a really long movie. They split it into a part 1 and part 2.
You're going to hear the origins of this in the clips. But the reason this really started was because Pete is a little child and he doesn't like what he hears. He throws temper tantrums. And his temper tantrum landed on hating the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And we are here a year and a half after that shit started, still dealing with the fallout. And next October, we will be doing your dueling chainsaws, setting up 2 TVs, watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 at the same time.
And the commentating on them, because I guarantee you mine will be way more interesting. There's some good stuff to say, but there's a lot of just people sitting around being annoying in the first one.
Well, we'll see how it plays out. It sounds like a disaster, but that's what we court the danger.
You're coming around. You're going to like part 2 better by the end of this.
That's not possible.
Yeah, you will.
Here is clips from several episodes, not even all of them, but clips from several episodes of the debate Pete and I have been having.
It's weird that we have this bone of contention because I'm 100% convinced that I'm right.
I still think you're doing a joke. I think you're doing a bit.
A bit.
I respect it so little that I don't think it can come from any place but comedic. And it's not funny, so I think that's exactly your brand of humor.
But I'm not going for anything this time. I just genuinely enjoy that movie. Compared to part 1. I'm not saying it's like a masterpiece, but if I've got... All right, play the clips.
If you want to know what my brand of humor is, let's listen to this next clip on episode 101, episode 100, part 2.
Did both of you have Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
Yes.
Can somebody... I don't care for that movie.
Why?
I just doesn't work.
When's the last time you saw it?
20 years ago?
Okay, well, I don't know if that I'm going to respect this.
That movie is insane, dude.
This is number 1.
It's never made me want to watch it again, though. So why?
It immerses you into into the roles of the people who are being hunted. I mean, let me go. Okay, let me hit some points that I can succinctly hit without wasting too much time. I love the fact that people are still using the sound effects from the original. I love that. I love the promotional based on a true story. I love like the just the very exploitative nature of the marketing, which is I just love that.
What was
the guy with a leather face is the scariest face. That blows me away. The guy has like just a leather face on his head. He's a giant. He's got his butcher things on, and he's running around in the middle of the day. And the whole family is a bunch of dudes. And you get this weird incestuous kind of thing, and they get this woman at the table, and it's all zero budget. It is a student film, even though it was made by a professor. It's a student film. I mean, it's mind blowing to me in that way. So in short, that's
Okay.
and it's just scary as hell. Just scary as hell for me. So, I mean,
And it's on your
I don't
list
have
too,
any
Brian.
really great.
Number 4 on my
Yeah.
list.
Okay. All right. Maybe I'm going to have to give this another shot because it's.
Any of the remakes suck. I mean, I don't
I've
even
seen the
care.
remakes. Maybe that's coloring why
Yeah.
I've never bothered to go back and watch the original either.
I'm curious about Pete though. Pete, you didn't see which one did you see first? The remake of Texas
The
Chainsaw,
original.
or did you see the
I
original?
saw the original.
You did see the original.
I watched
first.
it again.
Okay.
I was probably like 20-ish, 21, somewhere in that age group.
That slamming of the door, the sliding door, which shouldn't be a sliding door. That one, that just kills me. I love that.
I don't even remember that.
But
Oh, when he just the guy's looking around the house, and then the door pops open, he just hits him with a fucking mallet on top of the head, slams the door behind
pretty
him.
sure that's it. Pretty sure that's it.
I don't know how you could forget that.
Welcome to the slaughterhouse. Yeah, it's like I love that.
All right.
But,
put it back on
I
my
got to
list.
read it.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
What do you think? It's a good movie? I don't get it.
And it's crazy. It's insane. It's insane.
Is there a joke buried here?
I
or
think this
just-
was last
okay.
week when
I
they
think
were
he's mad that I don't like Poltergeist as much as he does. So he's picked one of the all-time most important classic films in the history of the medium, and it's like, I don't like it. I don't get it. What is it?
I'm not picking sides in this divorce. Please
It's
stop.
not. I legitimately do not understand. I've watched that movie one time.
What's not to understand?
One time.
Why it's so important? One time.
20-something years ago.
20-something years ago, I watched it. I was probably 19.
It's scary.
Well, I'm going to have to rewatch it because you're the third person now who.
It's a good movie.
Pete.
It's scary.
Pete.
It's fucked up.
Yes.
It's one of the all-time classic films in the history of the medium.
Ay, ay, ay.
So she's not the third person to tell you this.
You're the third person that I've talked to in this basement who has
Did
told
you
me.
watch the new one? The sequel?
With
Like,
Matthew McConaughey? And Jennifer Beal, I believe?
No.
Jessica Biel.
Jessica Biel.
Those are two
Jennifer's
different
body.
movies.
No, that was
Matthew
the
McConaughey.
Matthew McConaughey and Renelle Zellweger are in one. Jessica Biel is in the remake.
Yeah.
So I've seen all of them then.
Is it? Who else is in it?
I think Ken brought this up. I think what clouds his judgment is that he's seen sequels and remakes, and they're all terrible. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if he's just positioning that onto his memory of the original. I don't know that he's seen the original.
I did. I think I saw it with you
I
at
don't
your
think that's
house.
true.
Yeah.
I don't think that's true.
Maybe it's not true.
I have a question. Does anybody know who does the voiceover right there that you play?
Yeah, Pete's excited. He has it written down.
I do because I saw it when I was looking for the best boy in the credits, and I saw that John Larroquette is
Larroquette. Yes, that's right.
trying to do. I know things.
He returns to do them in the remake and in last year's one and in the sequel to the remake, all of which are terrible. I don't know what to say about them.
Wasn't Matthew McConaughey in one of them?
He was in the fourth one
With Renee Zellweger.
Yep.
yeah, which is also terrible.
That was a bad one.
The series is a lot of bad movies and one indisputable masterpiece that Pete is here to dispute.
I'm not here to dispute. I just don't get what all the hullabaloo is about.
Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. I want to get into quickly why this is happening because it is a sordid tale of Pete's broken mind. He's very upset that the world doesn't view the movie Poltergeist at the level of acclaim he believes it deserves.
No.
I told him it's great. It's a classic. This was not enough to satiate his hunger for Poltergeist. Now, the reason he picked this movie, he'll never admit it, but the same day this all went down, this Poltergeist controversy of me saying it's great, which apparently was not enough, he picked the movie that Ken has number 1 on his top 10 and I have number 4. So it's the highest rated movie between the two of us. So he picked it and said, I don't think that's very good. And now here we are. Well, go ahead, Pete. Tell us what you got out of watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre for the first time in 20 years. That I maintain I don't believe you saw the first time.
I did because I watched it with you, sir.
Let's just say 1 to 10. Let's get a ranking first.
Oh, no. There's a better ranking here. It's how many bananas Pete gives it. Because we're going to save that to the end. But Pete said he has a new ranking system of bananas. So we're going to find out how many bananas Toby Hooper's masterpiece Texas Chainsaw Massacre gets today.
Okay.
All right. So I watched the Outback Steakhouse Massacre, and as near as I can tell, there was a guy, and he was just hanging out, making his bone furniture, like all his chairs and stuff out of bones, and all of a sudden somebody comes into his house, so he freaks out and hits him with a hammer, then runs to his panic room, and he hides in his panic room. 5 minutes later, some girl comes wandering in. He freaks out again, hits her over the head, hides in his panic room. And it just keeps happening. All the man wants to do
If you
is
have a
make
panic
furniture.
room, you don't have to do that.
Well, I don't know, talk to him. He seemed to have some kind of like mental problems or something. I will say, too, after that, he went down and after the third victim, he went down and had himself a good long think. And you could tell like he was really confused about what was happening and what to do. His answer was to go run around with the chainsaw in the woods.
In the dark.
In the dark. But that's what I took away from this movie. And it was all right.
It is emblematic of what the movie is. These are educated young hippies that are invading rural small town values. And they get the reverse of that right from the beginning when they pick up the hitchhiker and they have the conversation about how they're putting down the animals, how they're putting down the slaughterhouse. And he's like, oh, no, the old way's better. The old way's better. And they're like, no, they have a painless way now that they can shoot him with the gun. And he's like, no, you got to hit him. You got to hit him. And it's like they're being confronted directly with what they're going to decide to encroach upon. And the warning is the most visual warning I've ever seen someone ignore. As he starts cutting his own hand, and then he cuts Franklin, and they're like, we should just go check out that house, I guess.
Fucking crazy
It
ass
is crazy.
shit.
It's a movie about the counterculture of the time and how the old ways deal with the encroachment of modern society on them. And you see what they do.
Exactly. And also reality. Like it's the age of Aquarius versus the reality of Texas.
Yes.
The reality of reality.
Turns out one of my problems I discovered is I don't like Texas. So there you go. I had to sit there and listen to a bunch of Southern accents for, luckily, not more than an hour and a half.
From Sally's perspective, which is what we're supposed to see it through, Texas is the enemy.
Texas is always the enemy.
That's what she survives. Well, Pete, you said on the last podcast that 114 minutes is too long. That is the exact length of the movie Poltergeist. How long is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
I don't know. I wasn't paying attention.
83 minutes. Right in the Pete wheelhouse.
Poltergeist is 114 minutes.
It's 114 minutes.
That might be the only movie that is allowed to go past the 90-minute mark.
And yet, in France, it was put into the Museum of Modern Art.
Yep.
Hey, speaking of France, did you guys know that the word massacre is French in origin? I looked that up.
Massacre.
I bet you that's a French word.
Massacre.
Sometimes your notes explain to me why you don't understand the movies you watch. Because you're looking up the origin of the word massacre when you should be watching the movie.
Did you know that chainsaw is a saw that cuts with a chain? I think you should tell us some movies that you think are better than the Texas Chainsaw Massacre in the same genre.
Other than Poltergeist.
No, just for
You took away my answer, Martha.
Poltergeist is fine. I'll give it to you because I know you're insane. But give us something else.
Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
You think that's better than the Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
I'd put that one on before I'd put on Texas Chainsaw. I
That's
had
not
the
the
same
question.
vibe.
I know you
That's
like
not the
that
question.
one. I turned it off after 10 minutes. That's all I got to say, Peter.
Really?
Sorry, I never meant to tell you that, but that's true.
I did like that
Oh, I
one.
like it too.
Yeah, and I
I
feel
know. I
like
heard it's good. I heard it's good. It's not my thing.
It's
Tucker
not.
and Dale
I
versus Evil.
refuse to let it be stated that it's better than the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
The premise here, guys, is you were all so outraged. I just think it's all right, maybe, for a movie. You guys haven't swayed me in any way.
Pete. Nobody's outraged.
Pete,
We're just
I want to make
curious
this
as to why.
as clear as I can make it. The onus is not on the rest of the world to explain to you why it's great. You have the differing opinion. You have to explain to us why it's not.
I just don't. It's old and it's all right. It's nice if you want to look at something as the very first one out of the gate. It sets up a lot of the stuff, but it's just been done. It's been done in other movies, and I've seen it so many times, maybe before I watched this movie. So I was like, oh, I see where it started. No, I guess it's just a crazy family, right? That's what we're left with.
Sure. But do you have any interest in the counterculture nature of the story?
You keep using this term counterculture.
Yes, it is one of the most 1974 movies that you could possibly make. As the boomers are invading old society, the old world. And it's the expansion of ideas and thoughts and free love and free thinking that just, they don't want that shit. Does that help at all?
How wrong they are.
Make that movie into something that's more than just, the first one to do it? But
it would seem like the Leatherface family was more counterculture, were they not?
No, they were the culture being intruded upon. Is evidenced by 3 times someone literally walking into their house.
Today's accepted culture, but at that time they were the counterculture.
I don't think eating people and butchering them was the accepted culture, even for Texas.
It's Texas. So, Pete, the time has come. I've written down the words here because we got to find out how many bananas it is. So I've written down Come, Mr. Tally Man, tally me banana.
I give it 2.
2 banana?
2 banana.
Out of how many banana?
Out of
bunch.
how
No,
many?
there's no.
Two banana.
There's no limit on the banana?
Out of a bunch.
A bunch. Got it.
Yep.
All right, it was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
A sequel to a
The movie
masterpiece.
that is the second worst movie I've ever seen,
Oh boy.
behind Megan. It's a follow-up to part 1. What's your opinion on it?
I don't think there's ever been 2 good Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies. That has always been my opinion. This is the one I respect the most for trying something different than the rest of them all try.
Okay. I can see your point of view. And, it might surprise you to learn that I have the exact same viewpoint.
Yeah.
I believe there was only one good Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie.
Oh, no.
And it was part 2.
Oh, you like this one?
This movie was amazing. Imagine the surprise on my face when I sat down for part 2 and immediately fell in love with it. I think this movie, I think the story is better than part 1.
I'm mad at you now. I'm mad at you. I haven't been mad at you in 30 years. We are fighting now. This is a fight. I'm mad at you.
This is one of those rare instances where the sequel is superior to the
nonsense. I'm going to fight you.
I really am confused. I can't believe that other people are not on board with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
And this is generally ranked number 2 on the list of Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies because it gets
number 2 on the Tobe Hooper movie list.
It is tough sledding from here in this franchise, let me tell you.
Well, this is the pinnacle. It's like I said. This is a Gremlins 2.
Just please stop saying
This is a Gremlins 2 if part 1 had been awful.
Please stop saying this. please stop making me dislike you. The podcast which you're about to hear is an account of the tragedy which befell a duo of middle-aged men, in particular Bryan and his foolish co-host Pete. It is all the more tragic in that they were friends. But had they continued to podcast for a very, very long time, they could not have expected, nor would they have wished, to spread as much of the ignorance and nonsense as they were to create that day. For them, an idyllic summer afternoon watch-along became a nightmare. The events of that day were to lead to the recording of one of the most amateurish episodes in the annals of the Scare Value podcast, a watch-along of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This episode is 1 year in the making for a movie made 50 years ago.
That's a lot of math for the beginning of an episode, Brian.
1 year ago, we sat in this very basement and got into the only argument we've ever gotten into over any piece of media in any format. The argument only got worse when we time traveled back to 1986 and you liked the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 more than the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And
it was the better movie.
Oh my God.
It really, but Brian, I'm coming in today. I'm coming in with a fresh view. I'm kind of optimistic because I'm thinking I enjoyed it so much. And I remember there were parts of the original that I like, but this is really a prequel. That's what I'm going to view this as. And everybody loves a prequel.
I see.
Everybody.
And here we are for the 50th anniversary of one of the greatest films ever made. A film.
Yay, Tobe
by
Hooper.
Tobe Hooper.
He's pretty cool.
Never made another really good horror movie after this.
I don't know what you're talking about, you person who is crazy. And oh my gosh. I came in here, Brian, and I wanted to like this movie. I wanted to, but we're 2 seconds in. Already, Brian, I'm bored. Well, I'm bored listening to these morons bicker in the car with Franklin, who, God, is annoying. See, they're just talking. I mean, this guy's
They're not
kinda
just
weird.
talking. This is a very important part of the script here.
What?
This is where they're discussing the overall theme of this movie.
What's
where
the theme?
Franklin's talking about how their grandfather used to work at the slaughterhouse. This is really a story of them just reconnecting with their dead grandfather because they're going to go to his old house too now. He used to work at the old slaughterhouse, and he talked about how they have the new air guns to put them down.
And that's not cool. They liked it the oldie-timey way.
Hitchhiker represents the old school where he's like, no, you got to hit him in the head. You got to whack him with the thing, which is how Leatherface conducts his business.
Of course he does.
His Leatherface treats them like cattle.
He's a traditionalist. He likes to keep it old school.
Now, this movie is about anti-capitalism in a lot of ways.
Really?
This is the family who doesn't like the new ways. The industry has come to Texas and has changed the way that things are done. It is in their minds cannibalized the industry, and now they cannibalize society back in return. That is what this movie's about.
I don't think that's why they do it.
It is why they do it.
It's not why they do it, because they're entering barbecue contests. We find this out.
Well, it's a good thing you bring that up, because in the sequel, which is made in Reagan's America, they are now taking the side of trying to win the capitalist system. These people who were fighting against it, the family here, has flipped in the second one. They are now on the side of capitalism, because capitalism is the bad guy, not the old ways of Texas. So capitalism in the 80s is what Tobe Hooper's mocking in that movie. So they found a way to make money and be successful. And what do? He wants to, Chop Top wants to build a Vietnam theme park, and Drayton Sawyer is off winning chili cook-offs with human beings. That's how they're existing in a capitalist society that they're trying to fight off in this one.
Well, everything you just said is a much more enjoyable movie. It just sounds fun. I like capitalism being the bad guy.
It's clear Leatherface doesn't get any enjoyment out of being Leatherface.
You don't think so?
No, because he can't communicate. And it's like one of the interesting things. He actually wears 3 different faces in this movie. And they change because it's the only way it can reflect how he feels or what he's doing. So in the later scenes when they're at the dinner, he's wearing a woman's face because he's being the mother of the house now. He's cooking dinner. He's taking on that role. There's an interesting way to read the dinner scene in this that is very much like a 70s sitcom. You have the father figure, even though he's a brother, we learn, who gets home and he's just talking about his day, and he's crotchety, and you have the crazy teenager who can't stay in line. You have the mother who's trying to take care of the house. It's and the way that's shot, even, it does feel like that's what he's going for.
That's awesome. I didn't notice that the first time. See, he had all the ideas for part 2 right here. This is a good prequel. This is definitely almost like a real prequel accidentally, as if he knew that part 2 was what he really wanted to write, but he had to write the backstory first.
Taking the two of the movies together, there is something pretty interesting about what it's saying about how these people who society had left behind are finding ways to succeed in 80s America. Like, that's the direction we went in the 80s as a society, was backwards. And that's exactly right. Saturn's in retrograde? That was almost the title of this movie.
Really?
Well, it almost had a lot of titles. It was actually first titled Leatherface.
I like it.
Then it was changed to Head Cheese.
I think there is a Head Cheese movie.
Yeah, and then it eventually landed on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, spelled incorrectly.
Why was it? Oh, because chainsaw.
No one knows. It could have just been a typo. It could have just been a production choice. It just could have been that he literally didn't know how to spell chainsaw. We're not going to get any answers because Tobe Hooper passed away. But,
did he?
Yeah.
When?
2017.
Oh, man.
You wouldn't know that if you watched the Oscars, because they didn't put him in the in memoriam despite making one of the most influential movies in the history of film.
Poltergeist?
Yeah, all those movies influenced by Poltergeist.
Everything.
This launched an entire genre of film that remains successful to this day. The amount of money that Hollywood's racked in because of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. They remake this movie every 4 years. It's like, come on.
Yeah, because they can't get it right.
Oh, is that why?
That's got to be why. Like Poltergeist, they've never redone because it was perfect.
They literally redid it in 2015.
It was
with Sam Rockwell.
Perfect. Brian, I will grant you, I brought a notebook to doodle in case I got really bored.
Is that why you brought the notebook?
That was why I brought a notebook. I decided, because I had to go to school with Fred, like a middle school open house, and they made us go to every single classroom, and I had to sit there for 10 minutes and listen to a teacher talk, and I desperately wanted something to doodle. And watching this movie kind of reminds me of being stuck in class with nothing to do and bored, and I'm not allowed to leave.
You started the sentence with, I will grant you, as if you were going to say something positive, and then you continued down a path of negativity.
Well, yes, that's what I'm willing to grant you about this movie. Well, turns out I didn't use it.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
So you're finally willing to admit this is a masterpiece?
Yeah, it's a masterpiece of a prequel. Everyone loves a prequel.
I have to believe you, or else we're going to be doing this for the rest of our lives. Every October.
I mean, it's okay. It's all right. It's not, you know what? God, if you hadn't been here to just talk through that whole first, 3/4 of the movie, I don't know that I would have watched it again.
Well, guess what, Pete?
What's that?
You're not done watching it.
Oh.
You're done watching it for a year, but we'll see what happens next year.
We're watching part 2 next year.
That doesn't make any sense.
Part 2 is the good one.
I'll tell you what.
I'll tell you what.
I'll watch part 1. And you'll watch part 2, and we'll compare. We'll watch them at the same time.
All right, we'll see a side by side. Exactly how boring the beginning of this one is compared to all the stuff that takes place during. I like this idea.
Yes, weird. That's next year. Dueling chainsaws.
Dueling chainsaws. What a beautiful musical sound they will make. It seems like you like part 2. I don't understand why you think part 1 is so great.
I like it fine, Pete. And I've said on the show, it was pretty good. And
that's how I feel about this one.
If we all recall the beginning, the origin story, the villain origin story you have for Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it's because you were offended by my classification of Poltergeist as being, and I quote, great, unquote. That was not enough for you. So I want to point out that the difference between you and I is that I say a great movie is great, and you get offended that I don't put it on a tier with Psycho or Halloween or The Exorcist. And I said it's great. And then so I said, here's a movie that I put on that tier. And you said, it's fucking terrible. And it's taken a full year to get to it's all right. So you see the difference between us? So I could watch 2 right now and say, yeah, it's pretty good. And it still will because I just watched it not that long ago.
You know what the worst part is? If I hadn't seen part 2 and enjoyed it so much, I would have
liked this a lot better.
I would have hated this one.
Oh, it raised it in your esteem?
Yeah,
because they're doing setups for punchlines they'll do later.
Yes.
I honestly kind of do get that because this made me like part 2 a little bit more because the way that they paid off some of the things they were building in this. Yeah, you're still wrong.
Dennis Hopper is in that movie.
He's dead now, and he said that it was his least favorite thing he ever did, the worst thing he was ever a part of.
I think that was the Super Mario Brothers movie, if I remember correctly.
He remembers being in that. He said this was the worst thing he was ever. Which I actually don't think that's that bad. I don't think it's that good. But
that's not what I heard.
The problem is it is not anywhere near the class of the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, something that we will debate until the day we die, or you admit that you're wrong. But that's not the only multi-episode spanning topic we've had on this podcast, outside of That's What She Says and The Thing Is Ben Grimm's. And
it is Ben Grimm.
It Wasn't Me's. Those things are just little things that lazy people do to try to make each other laugh, which is also what this podcast really is. The thing is... Can't prevent it. One of the things that I think this podcast should most be known for and go down in history for is solving the Lady of the Dunes murder.
That was pretty impressive, I must say.
This is an honest-to-God, true statement. We did the Jaws episode. It came out on August 2nd, 2023. They claim to have solved this 49-year-old mystery on August 28th, 2023. We brought it up on like 2 or 3 episodes in a row, and then suddenly it was, quote, solved, unquote. You'll hear the whole sordid tale in these clips. But I've never been more certain that 2-year-old Joe Hill is a murderer. And if you don't believe me, wait till you hear.
It's true. Play the clip.
All right, here we go. We'll get back to it on the other side. Here is Pete accusing Joe Hill of murder accidentally, and it turning out to be 100% true.
Hey, did you know there was like a murder? Did you ever hear about that? A murder? No, there was somebody who was found. Do you know any of this, or am I just talking nonsense?
I don't know what you're...
It's like there was like the sand dune murder or something. Like there was a murder, goddammit, at either right after they finished filming or during filming, right there by the beach. They found a woman whose head was cut off and her head was almost severed. Her hands were cut off, and there was like seaweed or pine needles where her hands should be. So then they think that she might have been an extra on Jaws, and she's on film in a 4th of July scene. They think that might be her, or like her last. You don't know anything? I swear to God, it's a thing. I don't know the details. I didn't look it up. All right, well, look it up, somebody out there. It's a thing. I think Stephen King's son was involved somehow, like in reporting it, not committing the crime.
Let's say this is quite the accusation.
Well, maybe he did it.
Was it Joe Hill?
Joe Hill, yeah. He's an author too.
I think I knew a book thing.
Ken has sent me the article, I guess, that explains the sand dune murders for the Jaws woman that was beheaded. So I have that. It's just sitting there waiting for me to read it. But Ken has done the research.
All right.
Good
I
work.
read it.
Oh, yeah? What's the happy hats?
Yeah, I read it. Okay.
Did Joe Hill murder that woman?
I vote
it
no.
Wasn't. Okay, so going back to your Jaws podcast, you said somebody should look for the Lady of the Dunes. Her name was Beth something.
He seems to know an awful lot about this
that.
case.
All right, so the article is the true story behind a wild theory that Jaws could identify woman found almost beheaded near the beach in Provincetown, Massachusetts. And it was perpetuated by Joe Hill, the son of Stephen King. And the Lady of the Dunes, she was found in 1974. She was apparently dating a gangster at the time, and her head was nearly cut off. They had some pine cones. They cut off her hands too. Pine cones for the in place of her hands, and she does appear to be an extra in the movie.
All right,
and we're sure the shark didn't do this.
He just
pretty
took her
sure it wasn't
hands.
the shark because of the pine cones.
That's what they want you to think.
He could have gently lowered them.
Well,
is this one of those land sharks you hear about?
Yeah.
You got to be careful.
I've been hearing about those since around
That's
1975.
a beer.
About the same time.
All right, Pete, we have our big update here. The Lady of the Dunes update.
There's fresh news on the Lady of the Dunes from like 1970.
There is shockingly fresh news on the Lady of the Dunes case.
Ooh.
Since we started talking about this on our August 2nd Jaws episode, and then talked about it subsequently on 2 more episodes through August, at the end of August, they found the killer.
They did?
Yes. They had identified the body at late 2022, I guess, and then they figured out it was her husband, who I don't... Well, the thing that was keeping them from ever identifying who did it was they didn't know who the body was. So that was the whole Joe Hill thing, was he's like, I think it's this woman right here. And then I don't think that turned out to be true at all anyway.
No.
But they did figure out who the body was. And then her husband had previously been the lead suspect in the disappearance of a previous ex-wife and her stepdaughter.
Shut up,
So,
really?
yeah, in the 60s. So that sounds right, but it sounds all too convenient, doesn't it? We bring this thing back to the national talking point that it is.
Yes, it was us and not Joe Hill.
Yeah.
Nobody talked about this for years. We bring it up in August, and in August they solve a 49-year-old murder case.
You guys
Sounds
should be
like
proud.
No, I think this is all too clean. So I started doing some digging.
Oh boy.
Yes. Here's my theory. Who benefits from solving this cold case when we start bringing attention to it?
The police?
Joe Hill.
Oh.
Now let me explain why. This all came up because Pete just accused Joe Hill of murder accidentally on the Jaws podcast.
He's the one who's talking about it.
Well, that's what I said. The only name I've heard attached to the Lady of the Dunes case, it's a case where a woman was found with her hands cut off, her head almost severed off.
Yep.
The only person that benefits from it is Joe Hill, because now with the Lady of the Dunes back in the media, people talk about Joe Hill again.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody ever talks about Joe Hill.
They should.
Yeah. So this case gets solved right when we start bringing suspicion around who? Joe Hill.
Okay. So he's thrown it off. Is that what you're
Well-
attempting to claim? This is all
Well-
he's a patsy, a fall guy?
Here's some facts
For
for you.
Joe Hill?
Here's some facts. The murder happened in 1974. Joe Hill was born in 1972. I don't know that I need any more information than this.
Timelines match up?
Seems cut and dry to me. Was she alive before Joe Hill was born?
Yes.
How long did she make it afterwards? You got to ask yourself.
Not very long. Even I can do that math.
Motive's easy. His father is the greatest horror fiction writer of all time.
Right.
And he's a horror fiction writer who can't get out of his shadow.
Right.
He has to change his name.
Also,
He has no
sharks.
identity.
There's sharks all over that beach. It's really obvious it's going to be a shark who bit her hands off and put sticks under there.
Well,
Obviously.
let's go back to the obvious point here, though. Who brought up the whole, it could be this extra, one of thousands of people we can't identify because the casting director in Jaws died in 2009. So Joe Hill knows when in 2012 or whenever, when he starts talking about this thing, he knows nobody will ever confirm who it is, but he wastes a lot of time looking into thousands of people they can't identify.
So he was biding his time from 72 to
He was trying to
2012.
throw them off the scent.
Good for him.
I
I can't knock this theory. I just listened to a whole week of, the moon isn't real. That's a fact. Or the moon's hollow.
Obviously.
Also, the government put it there, and aliens put it there.
And the earth is flat.
I didn't get into the Earth. We mostly talked about the moon. So
Well,
those are facts.
you just naturally progress there.
To the flat Earth.
Absolutely.
Once you accept that the moon's not real or is real,
There's
or,
no other option. You're a flat earther now.
that would make sense.
You're making my clear case against Joe Hill sound like nonsense by attaching your nonsense to it.
It's all true, man.
Yeah.
I drank the
Obviously.
Kool-Aid.
So
It was blue.
Joe Hill's a murderer.
It was Flavor Aid.
Oh, man.
You drank the wrong one.
I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that except cry.
Yeah.
Tears of blue, because that's what that does to you. That cheap knockoff
Just
Kool-Aid.
ooze it.
You know, you don't see the Kool-Aid man around much anymore, do you?
Only when you least expect them.
So let me clear something up. Are we saying he murdered her
100%.
as a 2-year-old?
Well, not quite two.
And the earth is flat.
I got to get the timeline correct. He's about 1 year and 10 months old.
Okay, so we have like a Chucky-sized-ish, smaller.
You know, I cannot speak to the size that Joe Hill was at the 18-month mark,
Oh, roundabout.
20-month mark.
Stephen King, if you're listening, please tell us how old Joe was when he was, however old he was when he killed that lady.
Got
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, no, 100% he did. Because
Okay.
he's the only person that brought attention to it, and he did it in a way to distract people from ever identifying who she was.
Right.
And then the very month after 49 years that Pete accidentally accuses Joe Hill, the murder is solved, and it's conveniently someone who died in 2002. Come on.
Not
Yeah.
going to lie. I'm
Come
starting
on.
to believe it. He was feeling the heat and he had to get himself out from under because of all the suspicion.
Absolutely.
I'm an investigative reporter now.
He had to move quickly.
And he did.
It's all there. A name,
A place,
a place,
a shark.
a body.
Who, what,
Where?
when and where, and how.
Oh, how I don't know, because he would have been very small.
Shark. I
The
keep telling
toddler
you.
with the chainsaw. A little one.
I actually have eyewitness accounts of a 3-year-old or less running around with a fake chainsaw and knowing how to use it. So
Well, see, there's proof.
opportunity.
All right, I can't knock your theory.
That's right.
It seems solid.
You're not going to suspect the toddler on the beach.
And the movie that noted father of noted murderer Joe Hill, Stephen King said was, quote, the most horrifying motion picture I've ever seen. Which now that I look at it, could be taken to also back your point of view.
See? But
Was he complimenting it?
I was more concerned with, I feel like we need to give context for calling Joe Hill a murderer, but it's the,
No, it's understood now.
it's understood he's the sand dune killer guy
2-year-old Joe Hill murdered that woman.
on the set of Jaws.
And when the fuzz got too close to him, he decided to cast aspersions and say, oh, I think she was an extra in that movie. Everybody go look for that, knowing full well they could never figure that out. They never did. And then when we brought it up on this podcast, started cracking the code, they didn't catch him. He was dead. They figured out who did it. And I was like, very convenient. A
Joe, 2-year-old.
A cold case solved when we finger the suspect.
That usually makes you a suspect.
Yes, it does. It also gets you cut from Beetlejuice, too.
We brought the media pressure. That's how this got solved. It was constant bombarded. Like everyone, who was that lady in the dunes? They said, who was she?
It's mind-blowing that this 49-year-old case got solved 3 weeks after we bring it up.
Is there something else we should maybe use our problem solving skills for better use? Like I don't know. Like, where's the Lindbergh baby? When?
They found the Lindbergh baby. He was dead. It was who murdered the Lindbergh baby. That was the question.
That's not what I heard. I heard that I might be the Lindbergh baby. And I heard that Kitty might be Princess Anastasia is that the one who survived in 1917?
Well, none of them did.
I'm pretty sure she did. There was a whole movie about it.
Yes, a cartoon.
Yeah. You're right. You've seen it.
I've seen the commercials for it.
Right. So, she survived.
Those aren't documentaries.
They can make cartoon document. You don't have to make everything real life, Brian.
They literally cannot make cartoon documentaries.
Yeah, absolutely. You can animate a documentary. I've seen what they can do with technology these days. What was it?
I'm going to think about this for at least 4 more years before I get to a final answer on whether we can make a cartoon documentary.
You 100% can.
Aren't you showing real things, and that's the proof you have when you're doing these? You know what? That's going to obsess over the next 100 episodes of this podcast. We will get to that on episode 200.
All right. What else have we got going on?
Well, we're going to push, as I said, there's going to be a bonus episode. So we're going to push our number 1 to the bonus episode. But I do want to leave this episode off with something that maybe we should be known for even more so than solving the Lady of the Dunes murder.
I don't know. That's a pretty high hat to wear. I don't know that we can achieve such lofty heights again.
What if I told you I had almost 8 minutes of clips of movies that sound like poops?
That's 100 times better.
Yes.
It's a million. Who gives a shit about a child killing people? This is way better.
So we're just going to
I don't even remember any of them.
We're just going to hit this button and we're going to end the episode with it. We won't be back until the bonus episode because there's nothing more to say because we didn't prepare another list.
I got a list for you.
Oh, you do have a list?
Yeah. Let me pull up my phone. It's Nicolas Cage movies.
All right, here we go. Oh, those are shit, yeah. They do sound like shit every time you talk about them. When we did the clips for the guests that came on, my favorite clip was when you brought up Nicolas Cage and Fred said, I don't care about Nicolas Cage. And you're saying in the background going, who even is that? It's my favorite thing that happened on this podcast.
You're such a hurtful person, Brian. On this most auspicious of days, part 2.
Except for this is my favorite, probably my actual favorite thing that ever happened on the podcast, discovering how many horror movies sound like poops. Here you go.
The Descent for the first list, and for the second list, it was Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah. Descent would be a good name for your poo. The story of your poo.
Which of these horror movies would be a good name for a number 2? Let's find out. Dawn of the Dead? The Shining?
The Dead, not bad.
Ooh,
The Descent, I still like The Descent. The Shining, not bad.
Near Dark?
Near Dark.
It Follows?
Funny games. Funny games.
Godzilla -1, that works.
That kind of works.
Train to Busan could be a euphemism for the whole ordeal. I'm taking the train to Busan.
Ready or not.
What?
Get out. You're next.
I like Us. Us could work.
There's too many of these work.
Yeah, these work really well.
Talk to me.
Colossal.
I got
A girl walks home alone at night.
Slither.
Yeah, Slither's good. Slither might be
Slither's
I like
Slither's a
Slither
good
and the Descent. Slither and the Descent are pretty damn good.
Get Out to me is too on the nose.
Get Out's good, yeah. Get Out's good. Bones and all. Bones and
all. I've never noticed this pattern before.
But man, I guess that's how top 10 lists are made.
I think we could do that next year.
That's our top 10 list.
Top 10 movies that sound like poops. I don't think we have to wait a year for that one. The next time you're on, just have a list prepared of the top 10 horror movies that sound like poops. I should explain what this is. The last time the three of us were together, we can't remember what movies we were talking about, but one thing I do know, we were doing our top 10 list. We ended up doing horror movies. A lot of them ended up sounding like poops.
Yeah.
So we took it upon ourselves to create a top 10 list of horror movies that sound like poops. And now Ken will give us his list.
And if I could do comedies, I would do Splash. That would definitely be up there.
100%.
But let me say this too. I did way too many, Brian. I had a thought. If it's on my list, maybe just say it's on your list too. That way we don't all go to. I got too many here.
I have, Ken, I spent 8 hours one day and I had a list of 380 movies that sounded like poops. I pared it down to a top 10 and then a fairly substantial honorable mention list.
All right, I'll do this then. I will read, because last time we did a lot of them. I will skip over those for the moment, and I'll get to 10 without trying to hit those ones. Maybe I'll add one or two from the last one. The last episode had some good ones in there. Okay, let me start. I got I'll start with just a personal favorite, because it's Russell Crowe being an exorcist again, and it's called The Exorcism. Yeah. Also in that vein, The Omen. Lost Boys.
Yep, that's a good one. I think I had that somewhere.
Rosemary's Baby.
I had that.
What is that, number 4? Is that number 4?
It's all number 2s, Ken.
Okay, for my fifth number 2. My fifth. Sometimes Aunt Martha does dreadful things. That's from
your diary.
1965, I think. Shit. Oh shit! I just lost it. God damn it! Okay, I got another one. Moonshine Meat Market Mayhem. 2016.
It's a great one.
All right. I got 3 more here. The Wrath of Becky. Soft and Quiet at number 2.
Perfect.
And I'm going to stick with my favorite one from the last one, Bones and All. I like that one.
That's a solid one. Let's see what you got there, Brian.
Oh, you want me to do my top 10?
Go for it in whatever order you want.
All right, here's my top 10. The Purge.
Oh, nice.
Vacancy. Pieces.
I like that one.
Evil Remains. The People Under the Stairs. Burnt Offerings. My Bloody Valentine.
That's your best one. That's a good one.
Splatter University.
That's in the Monsters Inc. universe.
Children of the Corn.
Oh, how did I miss it?
And coming in number 1, The Midnight Meat Train.
You should have had Children of the Corn number 2.
I did have Children of the Corn number 2 for that exact reason. All right, I'm just going to read through all my things. I don't care. Here's my long list of honorable mentions. The Blob, The Void, The Aftermath, The Beast Within, The Beast in the Cellar, The Fall of the House of Usher, The Burning, The Stuff, The Happening, The Hitcher, The Lost Boys, The Flesh and Blood Show,
I like that one.
The Dark Tower, The Passenger, The Serpent and the Rainbow, The Devil's Rejects, The Devil's Doorway, The Toxic Avenger,
Nice.
Fresh, Hollow Man, The Empty Man, Thinner, The Mist, Annabelle Comes Home, Deadstream, Deliverance, Pet Cemetery, A Bucket of Blood, Theater of Blood, God's Bloody Acre, Slime People, From Beyond, Return to Boggy Creek. When the screaming starts, what lies beneath? Something wicked this way comes. Don't look in the basement. Last stop on the night train. Sometimes they come back. Cellar Dweller. Picnic at Hanging Rock. A Chinese ghost story. Chud. Chud 2 Bud the Chud. Sometimes they come back again. Monkey Shines. Pumpkinhead. Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer. Misery. Annihilation. Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Escape Room. Malignant. Gremlins 2 The New Batch. Little Monsters. It Lives Inside. Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me. Rosemary's Baby. It Chapter 2. We're All Going to the World's Fair. Resident Evil Extinction. Cue the Winged Serpent. Sometimes they come back for more. And when you fart and no shit comes out, The Invisible Man.